Appreciate you guys coming. Obviously, it's game week. It's finally here. Seems like it's taken forever. Last 8 months have flown by, but also here at the end, it's gone kind of slow, waiting for this week to finally get here. But we're excited as a football team, just like everybody else in the nation right now. We're ready to go play another team. It's been a long training camp, a little longer for us because school doesn't start until after our game next week. A lot of schools are in session right now, and players have a different routine than us. And we just moved out of the hotel yesterday, so it's been a long 3-week grind in camp. And we're really excited about getting an opportunity to go play. We're going to go play a very good opponent in Washington. They finished last season extremely hot, playing well on offense, playing well on defense, won their bowl game. A lot of players coming back, so it's an outstanding opponent. Making the trip across country obviously adds another challenge to it, but we're ready to go, and really excited just to find out where we're at as a program. I think we've got some really good kids. I like our chemistry, I like our attitude, I like our work ethic, and now it's just time to go out and find out where we're at when the foot hits the ball and we kick off, and this is going to be a good test for us. Got a lot of respect for Coach Peterson. He's done a great job at Boise State. He's done a great job at Washington, and he's done an outstanding job with that football team and developing the type of identity that he wants. They're big in the right spots. They're fast in the right spots, and they've got a good quarterback. So they're going to present a lot of challenges to us. With that, go ahead and open it up for questions.
This might be a knock-on-wood situation, but how did you come out injury-wise out of training camp? Are you relatively healthy going into this season opener?
Yeah, we are relatively healthy. We had very few injuries during training camp. A few bumps and bruises, ankle sprains, things like that. Probably as healthy of a football team as I've been around in a while, coming out of the type of training camp that we put these guys through.
Chris, what is this like for you to finally be in a game week as a head coach in college football? And it's got to be pretty exciting.
I'll be honest with you, it's challenging more than exciting. There's so many things left for us to do to feel like we're ready to go play a game. Again, every day is a new day for us as a program. Every day is a new day for me as a head coach, us as a staff, us with these players. And today's a new day, coming into work and having a press conference, and it's a Monday of game week. We're leaving on a Thursday instead of a typical Friday for a road game. Those are all new things. I've never done that before. So it's all brand new. We had our mock game on Saturday. It was the first time really for me as a head coach to be on the sideline with the headset on and go through a game like we did, and that was different. Flipping back and forth on the headset from offense to defense, being on the sideline and trying to manage the game, even though it was scripted. Just thinking through my head the scenarios and the possibilities that could come up and the calls that we would need to make. That was all new. So exciting, I guess, would be a word a lot of people would assume that I would be, but it's challenging, and just trying to make sure that we're crossing every T and dotting every I, and we just continue to coach these guys on every single detail as we continue to move forward. And it will be a game of coaching and preparation until the foot hits the ball, and then it'll turn into adjustments from there.
Chris, to follow up on that, have you thought about what it will be like for you when you step out on step onto the sideline Saturday? What that's going to be like your first game day as a head coach?
No, I can't say that I have. Last Saturday in our mock game, as that game was going on, I just kept trying to think about what it's going to be like next Saturday in terms of just game management and keeping my poise and focusing on the things that I need to focus on as a head coach, and not getting caught up in the emotions of the game, like you can do up in the press box and nobody really sees you, and then you can, get back down and get refocused. On the sideline, you got to stay focused and locked in, all the time, because things go back and forth a lot and different scenarios come up that you got to be thinking about. But, we'll worry about what it's going to be like on Saturday when Saturday comes. But, I'm worried about our practice today, to be honest with you.
Chris, in terms of the quarterbacks, when will you decide this week between Allen and Resigno? Do you need to have a penciled-in number 2 guy on game day? And any chance either of those guys plays in a situation, or are you hoping Laviano takes every snap?
Laviano's our quarterback. Right now, the way that someone else would play would be due to an injury, or we're up in the game to the point where we felt comfortable putting another quarterback in. We will name a backup quarterback, or at least identify who would be the first one to go in the game if something happened to Chris here this week.
Coach, you have Justin Goodwin starting. What did he kind of do to win that role, and how close is it with Josh and Robert behind him?
Going into training camp, Robert was our number 1 tailback. Robert's one guy that's been slowed through training camp with the hamstring strain. He's going to be fine for the game, but he hasn't gotten as many reps as we wanted him to get throughout training camp, and that's why the depth chart is the way it is. It was really a competition between Justin and Josh Hicks because Rob's just missed some time, but Rob will play Saturday. And I think he'll be 100% by the time we play, but we've just been very cautious with him because of the injury that he's had during training camp. But Justin's been probably the most consistent in all areas throughout training camp. That's knowing his assignments, that's ball security, that's pass protection. It's all of the above, and he's done a good job.
Chris, you mentioned Washington finished really strong. How do you look at a team like that? Because I think they finished 7-6 or something like that last year, but they're number 14 in the country. Do you just focus on their last 3 games? Do you look at all of last season as a whole? Because it seemed like 2 different teams last year.
Oh, yeah, we focused on a lot of their season. We didn't, in our cut-ups and our breakdowns, we didn't break down all their games, but we broke down a majority of them from the beginning, the middle, and the end, just to see the differences in the football team. And they had a young quarterback last year, and he was really playing outstanding football at the end of the season. And we're looking at all of it, not just the last 3 games, and it's identifying what they do well, things that they might have struggled with, just the things that you typically would do with an opponent.
Coach, obviously there's a lot of emotions going into this game with a new era of Rutgers football, and you go up against a top 25 team right out of the gate. How do you get your players to calm down, enter in that game, and control those emotions?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, I think it's a benefit to be able to play an opponent like Washington for the first game as a new staff for coaches and players, because they've got your attention. You're locked in, you're focused, you know what you're going up against, versus somebody that you feel like you probably should beat. But I'd rather have it this way than the other way. Obviously, you'd like to make sure that you're going to go play a game and you feel like your chances of going out there and beating a team easily, you like that. But I like this challenge. I think our players like this challenge. I think they are excited, but it's a focus, and they're locked into what they need to do to take care of their bodies, take care of their assignments, and I think they're ready to go out and try to play their best football game.
Chris, obviously this game was on the schedule long before you got here. I'm just curious what you think about opening with a non-conference game 3,000 miles away, and just generally speaking, what your thoughts are on how you would like to see the non-conference schedule set up in the future.
It's not a game that I would probably set to open up on the road clear across the country, but it is what it is. It's set, and we're going to play it. I'd rather, like most coaches, probably want to open the season at home if you had the opportunity to. But this is going to be a great test for us, just how we manage the trip and go play in that environment against this football team. So I guess we're turning this thing into a positive rather than a negative, and we're looking at this as a great barometer to find out where we're at. Can we compete against teams like this and in an environment like this? When you talk about just non-conference scheduling, down the road, I think I've talked about it before. A lot of it depends on where your team is at, where your program's at. I always want to try to have a team that tests where you're at as a program, as a football team going into the Big Ten play. Obviously, we're going to play a lot of really good teams in the Big Ten, and you don't want all of your non-conference games to be, what you would consider easy wins. You need to be challenged at some point in that non-conference schedule, and I'd always want to make sure we had that in there.
For the last several months, you've been talking about rebuilding the culture here. How does that project change now that you're into the season? There's obviously less time to worry about those details, and you're planning for a game every week. But How do you continue to mold the culture as you get into the season here?
Well, I'll start with, I'd like to use it a different phrase in terms of what we want with the culture. It's not rebuilding, it's just establishing the one that we want. When you look at the history of the program, there has been a lot of success here over the last 12 years, 13 years. There's been a lot of success. There's been a lot of positive things that have happened. And it's not about, rebuilding the culture. It's just establishing the one that we want more than anything else. And that's the way I look at it. But that culture building never stops. It's a constant, consistent message that always has to be talked about. And that never goes away. And whenever myself or the coaches have an opportunity to continue to build the culture that we want here, we have to do that, whether it's in meetings, whether it's on the practice field, whether it's on games, just the way we behave and perform and the way we respond to events that come up. So that's a never-ending process.
Chris, talking about Washington for the first game on the road, regardless of the opponent, is it ever a better idea sometimes to be on the road, to be away from distractions? People have been, guys have been home, they've been around families, they've been around the campus and everything. Is it better to be sometimes on the road, away from distractions, and just focus on the task?
Yeah, there are times when coaches feel that way. There's times that I've felt that way on previous teams that I've been a part of, that hey, this is a good week for us to be on the road and eliminate distractions and just focus on ourselves as a football team. And honestly, we're probably in that situation. That's why I don't really mind, that we are going on the road. I wish it wasn't quite as long of a trip, but I don't mind the fact that we're going on the road so we can just really focus on ourselves and not all the typical distractions that come around it with a home game, with tickets and family and what you're going to do after the game and all those things. It's about, hey, let's just go play football, and when it's over, we'll worry about it then.
Coach, I believe on Friday, and I don't want to misinterpret the question or your answer anyway, but you said that you're aware that people don't expect much of this team this season. How much has that been a driving force going into the season, or motivating factor going into the season?
We just actually talked about that yesterday, and it's easy for coaches to block out some of that noise because we get in our bunkers in our offense and defensive staff rooms, and we just are watching film and worried about practice preparation and game planning, and you don't watch or listen to a lot of things in the outside world. It's really hard for the players to block out those things because they hear it all the time. They're always on their phone. They're somewhere watching TV. They're walking, when school starts, they're walking on campus and they're hearing people talk about it a lot. So it's harder for the players to block it out. We're not naive to say that, hey, you can just completely get it blocked out and don't listen to it. But hey, it's there. Let's use that as a motivating factor that, hey, there aren't a lot of expectations for this football team, according to media like you guys. But, that's fine. That's the way we want it. We'll go to work, and we're not really concerned about high expectations, low expectations. We're worried about going out and playing the best football that we can. But I think right now our players are kind of using that as motivation.
Chris, I know you were smart with Darius Hamilton throughout training camp, but how much is he full go in this game? How much can you expect out of him?
Yeah, he's full go like he's always been. The only time we limited Darius was in live scrimmage situations. We were careful about the number of reps he got in long practices just because of wear and tear on his legs. But he's full go. He's going to start the game, and he's going to play as much as his body allows him to play, which I would anticipate. It's not, if we played 70 snaps, he's not going to play 70 snaps. I don't think we'll have any D lineman that would play 70 snaps right now, but I would at least expect him to play half the snaps of the game.
Coach, with yourself and your new staff coming in, there's a lot of changes being implemented on the way this team plays on offense and defense. I'm just curious to know how much growing pains you're expecting in this first game. This is the first live action your team is really playing in this new system. And I also would like your take on, do you feel like this could be an advantage to your team? Washington doesn't really have anything to really go off of with all this new stuff you're implementing?
Yeah, I'll be honest, there's not going to be any growing pains. Everything's going to go smooth. It's gone smooth. I won't make one error as a head coach. I don't expect the offensive defensive coordinators to call one bad play. So it's all going to go smooth. So you can write that down and everything's going to be perfect. As a new staff, I've been on the other side of it like Washington is now, playing against new staffs in their first game. And you're trying to scramble to find videotape on this coordinator, that coordinator, the head coach on where they've come from and trying to figure out what they'll be doing. Chris Peterson and his staff are a bunch of really good coaches. They're intelligent people. They're doing their homework. They're trying to identify, what we're doing and how we're doing it. You guys I know made a lot about us limiting the media access to practice, but there was a reason for that, and that just like what you brought up, that's one of them. We don't need everything that we're doing broadcast all over the internet, so that's why we did that. But it is. We hope that it is somewhat of an advantage for us that we are new, and we have no video out there of what we're doing. Thanks, Coach. Yep. Thank you, guys.